And we're back with the show. Once again, it's Gerald Glassford. Thank you so much for being part of the pop culture cosmos. And it's that time again. It is early April, and it is time to get our TV fix one more time. Just truly cannot thank you enough for listening. But she is back once again. It's no April Fools. It is our good friend. She is the outstanding writer from the TVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check out everything that's going on today at the TVRatingsGuide.com with all their original programming, all their great reviews, all their awesome stuff that they update as far as the renew cancel index, and their great original scripts you got to check out. It is my good friend. It is Jessica Boggs. Jessica, always great to have you on the show. Well, it's going to air tomorrow in most every places, so that's why. So,
Yeah, it's like even though like April Fools is tomorrow, I'm
yes,
like I'm actually here, so no April
yes,
Fools.
no April Fools indeed. Unless, well, if they're watching today, then they can go ahead and say this was done before April, but technically it's going to be in April. But anyways, we are. It is no April Fools. We are glad to have you here, but I know you wanted to first focus on some things when it comes to ABC. I know there's a couple new shows that have come out, not to the greatest of reception when it concerns The Fix and Whiskey Cavalier.
Well, yeah, like we've seen the Fix premiered to a 0.7 and then go down to like a 0.6 in week 2, and Whiskey Cavalier has been steady in the fractionals. I don't expect neither one to return at the moment.
Which is a shame, especially for Whiskey Cavalier, because Laurie Cohen, she had every desire to go ahead and break out as a star, like so many other of her. I guess I'll say this: many of her cohorts that have actually gone on to some other great things, and then also as well some others like Danai Gurira, who are leaving the show to even go on to bigger and better things. Her success story has not been there. Her first movie that she did with Mark Wahlberg was not a success, and it looks like so far right now, her decision to go to ABC and Whiskey Cavalier and leave The Walking Dead was not a very good one at this point in time.
I would agree so, because it takes a long time to be an overnight success story outside of the show that you're known for.
That's right. That's right. And it looks like she is going to have to reevaluate exactly what she wants to do because The Fix and Whiskey Cavalier are not hitting anywhere near. What do you think it is with The Fix and Whiskey Cavalier that's just not connecting with audiences? I mean, reviews have, for the most part, been okay on each, but just really not to the extent I think what ABC was hoping for.
I think for the most part, it has everything to do with the time slot that they're in. They're both airing at 10 p.m., which so far the success story, like in the recent 10 p.m. slot, is The Good Doctor in promotion, and it seems like neither one of them are hitting at the 10 p.m. slot.
Absolutely, and that 10 p.m. slot to debut is kind of a really hard mountain to climb because you have those situations where you're introducing it into a smaller marketplace in the first smaller audience in the first place, and it's just really hard to go ahead and have yourself stand out in a 10 o'clock show without maybe debuting and having a couple episodes maybe airing at an earlier point in time to get fans interested into your type of series or shows or what have you. I know CBS has I guess this is the time of year for them with March Madness and the NCAA tournament that they're supposed to really do big numbers and really, have it as a time to promote everything that good about their products, plus also TBS and TNT as well, for that matter. So, but unfortunately, at this point in time, March Madness really hasn't been that much madness unless you're talking about what happened this weekend with Virginia with the last minute immaculate shot, so to speak. But outside of that, there really hasn't been that many competitive or really exciting games as much as previous years. And I think that's reflected in the ratings so far because this has not been too much of a madness for CBS, TNT, and TBS as of this point in time.
Well, outside of a few upset games, like the Liberty University versus the whoever was ranked in number 5, that was, I believe it was Michigan State, and there has been very little exciting games.
But how's it so far translating ratings? Because I remember coming across the fact that they are down considerably over what they usually do at this point in time.
They are. And I think also it has everything to do with a basic fatigue of your usuals versus the Cinderella stories.
Because people usually like watching those Cinderella stories, but when the tournaments go quote unquote chalk, meaning the more favorites win than anything, then it has a tendency to not create that kind of excitement. But Jessica, did you hear that sound? Did you hear that sound in the distance? That was my bracket blowing up. I just want to let you know that was just in the distance there. That was that explosion you heard was my bracket blowing up when North Carolina lost the other day. But need I digress on that? So better luck next year for me, and better luck next year for them, and hopefully CBS can go ahead and have better luck next year with its tournament. They're still going to get high ratings for next week's Final Four and also the national championship game. Whether or not it's going to translate into as much of a success there, we'll have to wait and see. But so far, March Madness has not come out, proven out to be as maddening, I think, as CBS has hoped. But
Yeah,
there,
but the biggest ratings, it seems like, is with Duke. It's drawing a huge amount of eyeballs, and it's probably not going to slow down anytime soon.
as long as they're in the tournament, because Zion Williamson has captured has captured the imagination of a lot of fans out there, especially a lot of fans of some teams in the NBA like me who are not with the Lakers, who are not going to make the playoffs this year, who are hoping to get that number 1 draft pick and get the talented Zion Williamson in their draft. So you're right, he does have a lot of eyeballs, a lot of people trying to check out why he is so special and why his name has vaulted to the forefront of the, I guess, draft hopefuls mix, so to speak. But there is a lot going on when it comes to NBC. A lot, some of it good and some of it historic. So fill me in on what's going on with NBC, including everything going on with Law and Order SVU.
SVU has just recently been renewed for a historic 21st season on NBC, which is huge because even the mothership, Law and Order, did not get 21 seasons.
That's correct, and I think it's for what is it for a prime time series as far as a nightly a weekly prime time series. It is one of the longest running, and I think into the 21st, as far as 21st season, it will actually surpass quite a few others, and to have itself stand apart as far as the record is concerned. Is that correct?
That's correct. Although Gunsmoke still holds the record for 635 episodes.
That's right. I know both the WWE and also the Simpsons. They're always gunning for them as far as I know every record that they surpass or that they approach, especially with WWE Raw and then with the Simpsons. Both of those have been around for so long now that they're trying to go ahead, and any plateau or milestone that they get to seems to go ahead and always translate into whatever they did compared to Gunsmoke. So I know Gunsmoke is still the gold standard when it comes to longevity, but with shows like Law and Order SVU and is now coming soon 21st and 21st season. You're right, Antiques Roadshow, that's been on forever and ever, and then also WWE Raw and Simpsons and The Simpsons, you've got all these shows that are still just around for so long and still look like they're not going to stop anytime soon.
Well, yeah.
But
Moving on to Abby's, it has premiered to very weak ratings in week 1, and it's expected that it's gonna drop for week 2.
that's a show that I guess models itself from a show from the distant past in Cheers, but after watching it, I kind of have tendency to agree with what you're saying that it's not anything to really share a drink over.
Yeah, it's not like an outdoor bar outside of your backyard. That's not the premise of Cheers.
No, no, not at all. But it's really not connecting with audiences. It looks like it's just Can I ask you a question? Because this is the time of year we see some replacements in the schedule. This is the time of year we start seeing some shows that are dedicated to being released in the spring and early summer. There's a few shows like that, but it's mainly competition shows. But there are also some scripted shows that come out at this point in time or debut at this point in time year, but it seems like a lot of them are not connecting. And some of those shows that are coming out are replacing shows that failed in the first place. So, your thoughts on why a lot of these shows that are coming out in the spring just really do not connect with audiences?
I'm thinking also because it's the time slot too, and the fact that the AP Bio, which is like the 8:30 time slot, should be doing a lot better, but it's not, and it's going into Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it's also hitting into the new show too. So one show definitely makes a huge effect on the rest of the lineup.
You're right. That can be the case, and if that show does not really hit with audiences, it can affect the entire lineup. And I totally agree with you on that because it brings everything down and numbers slide accordingly through all the shows that it's connected with. But there's also a lot of going on with Fox with some renewals that happened recently. Some shows that came out to some early fanfare have sustained an audience enough to go ahead and get a new lease on life for another season.
Well, yeah, recently we had the renewals of The Resident and 911.
And
What
911 came out to great fanfare, huge ratings, but just has not been able to sustain it, but did get a pass for another year.
While The Resident has sustained itself pretty nicely, but it was a bubble show that I've considered it, that because of the new Fox with the Disney merger, I had it as a bubble show.
And but it still looks like it was something that people have like enough, and Fox is enough behind to go ahead and renew it for another year. I know before we hit the Friday night comedies that you want to talk about and Proven Innocent, there is a show that's still on topic with everybody when it comes to Fox, for better or for worse. And whatever your opinions are on Jesse Smollett, that's your opinion, and we respect that. But with all the controversy that's been going on with Jesse Smollett and his possible return to the show, we'll have to wait and see. What has gone on with Empire itself? Has the show received any kind of boost in the numbers, in the ratings, any kind of interest because of it? I mean, for lack of a better term, I don't want to say morbid type audience, morbid type reaction to it, but in cases like these where Jesse Smollett's name has been all over the news, there's a tendency for people to say, "Oh, you know what? Okay, I'll check that out with Empire," or maybe protest in response.
Well, the numbers have gone down considerably with Empire, although that makes Star improve his chances on renewal, but it's not helping its case being the most expensive show on broadcast and with Lee Daniels. Well, like last night, you would see Jesse Smollett did not even get his NCAA Image Award, and Chris Rock
You
pretty much,
mean NAACP?
yeah, NAACP award, and he pretty much got roasted, and which is a huge shame because he's a big part on Empire, and because of the controversy, ratings have gone down as a result.
And that's a shame for the show overall because it is something that I know has come to be a pillar and a cornerstone of the Fox whole entertainment medium as far as their shows are concerned and the way they structure them out on the Fox network. But there are some, I guess, some signs of some other shows that may help out in the case of Empire not being able to reach its standard. Hopefully that comes in the form of the Friday night comedies. What's going on as far as the Friday night for Fox? Is this something that they can go ahead and maybe turn to because of what's going on with Empire?
Well, the Friday night comedies will probably be moving to Tuesday after WWE SmackDown goes into the lineup, and I don't think SmackDown is making a case as much as the Friday night comedies are. Although the Cool Kids is has dropped considerably, probably because Proven Innocent is on the time slot, and it's still pretty low. Whereas you got Last Man Standing still in the like point 0.9, 1.0 type thing. It's cooled down a little bit, but it's still doing pretty well on a Friday night.
Absolutely, because Friday night is usually not or it usually doesn't have a tendency to be a higher viewing day just because of the fact people are out, people are doing things, having going, starting off their weekend on a Friday note, being active. So your numbers have a tendency to be down overall as far as from a viewership standpoint, but it's still good to see something going on as far as the Friday night comedies. And if they're being moved to Tuesday in the wake of WWE moving their SmackDown show to the Fox network, that could be a sign that maybe they'll break out on Tuesday nights. Last Man Standing, I think, will have that audience transfer over to Tuesday night. Whether or not the other comedies in that block will be able to transfer their audience as well and maintain those ratings, we'll have to wait and see. And you mentioned Proven Innocent. Proven Innocent is a show. Do you think that's actually going to be able to make it out long term?
Nope, it's not. Even
That's a
a point
definite
four.
cancel on your list right there.
Yeah, even a point 0.4 is not pretty good for a Friday.
No, no. When you're having that much of a share as far as that little of an audience to draw from, even on a weaker Friday day, it's still that's not good signs for Proven Innocent. It looks like they'll be off the air pretty soon, or at least in the not too distant future. CW, everything has quieted down at least a little bit after the unfortunate death of Luke Perry. Things have quieted down a little bit when it concerns CW. We know there's a big time cancellation of a long running show in Arrow, and then also as well another pillar and as far another foundational piece of the CW, I guess consortium also is ending after over 15 years on the air.
15 seasons. Like the 15th season will be the last one for Supernatural.
Absolutely, 15 seasons. That to me actually lasted a little bit longer than I thought it would. So kudos to everybody involved with Supernatural ending after 15 seasons. But that one they're going to get a full. They're getting a full season as far as it's concerned, correct?
Yes. As close to full as you can get, which is 20 episodes, which is what season 14 consisted.
Sweet, sweet. And so that's CW, at least, like I said, it's a little bit more stable now. But going forward, they're going to have to go ahead and figure out where they're going to be able to find those shows that they can go ahead and send around because Supernatural and Arrow have been there. I think Arrow was at 8 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. So they're being canceled, I believe, after 8 seasons. And Supernatural will be ending after next year, their 15th season on that. So they're going to have to figure out going forward what they want to do as far as shows are concerned that they want to go ahead and center around because Arrow was a success for many years. Unfortunately, it went downhill in its last two, and Supernatural looks like it's their time has run out as well. So you're gonna have to figure out where they can find those shows that sustain any type of success for that period of time. So, but you know what? It's a CW. Their ratings don't have to be as high as the other networks in order to find success. So hopefully they'll be able to find something real soon. Last but not least, we've got everything going on in the world of cable. I know there's a lot of stuff you want to talk about. May I ask you first, though, who in the world is?
Mostly
Oh, I'm sorry. Who in the world is giving? Who in the world is giving a show a 90 episode renewal?
MTV.
Of course, Viacom. They go crazy on MTV. So tell me a little bit more about what's going on when it comes to a 90 episode renewal of Wild and Out.
Well, we recently reported that it's basically part of the MTV's ratings resurgence that has been going on for a couple years now. And one of the shows that has been the cornerstone of resurging MTV is Wild and Out.
And why do you think it's connected so well with audiences that MTV and Viacom have, I guess, decided to go ahead and just really just stand behind it with a 90 episode renewal? Because that fascinates me.
Well, it's mostly due to it's not just with linear audiences, but it's also with the non-linear platforms as well. Like apparently doing well on YouTube brings in the money.
And that's true. That's true. Any additional viewing there, plus also the like you've always said, the plus seven, the aftermarket, excuse me, the after viewing, the after initial viewing, as far as people watching it on delay, maybe going ahead and recording it to watch it at a different time. But you're right. If they're watching it on YouTube, and YouTube is now as a medium is still very strong. YouTube as a medium is very strong and can get you a lot of support because of the additional advertising revenue that you can get from it.
I think
Pretty.
also
Oh,
I think also like the MTV resurgence also applied to the challenge. Like it
the
had
challenge, yeah, of course, the challenge. That's a crazy show. I like that one as well. That one is just seems like they've always in the past 20 years or so really had a show of competition type show that's really connected for one reason or another. Road rules and all that has just connected with their audiences. So it's something that to see as far as the challenge is concerned, doing so well. Because, like you said, because based a lot of it based off of what you see and the add-on when it comes to re-airing it or bits of it on YouTube. So that makes a lot of sense indeed. One last thing I want to talk to you about when it comes to cable, or actually a couple things actually I want to talk to you about when it comes to cable, is Pretty Little Liars. Pretty Little Liars, I know, has gotten to the point where it looks like it's going to be spinning off real soon.
well, it did spin off, and week 2 of The Perfectionist has lost over half of its audience. I mean, it premiered to 0.018 again, which was in line with other freeform premieres. But then it got into like famous in love territory and the ratings and dropped to a 0.09 in week 2.
Oh, that's not good at all. Not, and even for freeform. Remember our old joke when it comes to freeform? That was a place where only people would go and watch Harry Potter films, but USA and Sci-Fi has that now, so you can't even say that. But when it comes to what's going on with Pretty Little Liars and their spinoff, do you think it's going to be able to even on a platform like Freeform sustain itself, or do you see not good signs for the spinoff for Pretty Little Liars?
I don't think there's going to be any good signs for it going forward, to be honest. I'll probably write a column on it shortly, not shortly, but pretty soon around the next couple of weeks. as I'm analyzing some of the ratings in there. It's just not it's just not good. Like Freeform has, for the most part, pretty much collapsed like into sub point two territory. And that is a lot because cable companies have deprioritized the network into tier two or tier three.
And this is something I saw coming even before the Disney Fox merger. I just never saw Freeform as a network that could really just I don't know. I just did not see them as a network that could really stand out amongst the rest. I know they had shows. I know they gave it like a half-hearted effort with Marvel providing a series and some others providing their Cloak and Dagger and some other series that were trying to make themselves stand out on the network. But I mean, ABC just hired a new someone. They just hired someone to go ahead and steer the ship in a better direction at this point in time. And one of the things that she has to go ahead and take a look at as far as what are they going to do as far as freeform is concerned. And do you think freeform itself should actually sustain itself as a network? I thought that freeform should have been ended a long time ago as a whole network because I just don't think it can sustain itself or sustain an audience. I think that's something that I think is just going to continue to be a drain on Disney. And Disney loves profits. Disney loves money generators. And if they don't get that from Freeform, I don't see it sustaining itself as a viable network anytime in the near future. So, and especially now that you got Disney and Fox, the merger that has completed, they're going to focus more on the assets that they do have that can build on a larger audience. And I think one of those will be FX instead of Freeform.
Correct. With the because FX is making money apparently. And with Freeform, I think they're going to probably go the Viacom route and just deprioritize the network as well as FXX.
And both of those are very limited viewing networks, and especially because you got Disney Plus on the horizon as well, and a new prioritization on Hulu because Hulu's going to be the benefit of getting a lot of this influx, of a lot of this Fox, I guess, shows content that is not going to be available for Disney Plus because of whatever content that's in this content from Fox. If it's, I guess, more for adult oriented, if it's R rated, if it's more 18 and over oriented type format, then it's going to go over to Hulu. Like, for instance, Deadpool. All the Deadpool material that's going to go over to Hulu. They're going to get a new influx of shows. So Hulu is going to be the benefit of this. Disney Plus is coming out with a whole bunch of fanfare in the not too distant future, and they're going to get a lot of programming, original shows. Marvel's going to be providing some stuff. So networks like FXX and Freeform, I think, like you said, are just going to be deprioritized even more.
Exactly. Kind of like with Viacom when they deprioritized VH1 in CMT and TV Land. As a result, TV Land got rid of all of their scripted comedies.
I remember them doing that, and I know a lot of people were very sad in hearing that news because they had some shows there that were kind of cute. You had that nostalgic feel, but yes, getting rid of all their scripted shows was kind of a bummer for everybody that watches and follows everything going on at TV Land. I
Like
know I've got one last question.
Original scripted comedies, though they still have the shows on syndication.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I was talking about the shows that they actually produce for TV Land and whatnot. Obviously, not the scripted comedies that they've in rerun format that they show on there constantly all throughout
like
the day.
one of their originals, Younger, is going to be premiering season 6 on Paramount Network sometime over the summer, even though it was supposed to be in spring, which they're filming now So it's going to, like, if my trajectory is correct, that it's going to air sometime over the summer, whereas Teachers got canceled.
Yeah, absolutely. And Heather's did too, I'm assuming, correct?
Let's just say effectively canceled on Paramount Network.
Effectively, yes. After so much controversy with that show and the way that got off to the wrong foot, you knew it was going to be downhill ever since. One last question I got to talk to you about, and that comes to a show that I actually found to be um, after a okay start. Not really, it didn't really show much promise as far as long term, but it really got good in the middle of the season. The shows, especially the Vegas episode, was really a strong one for the show, and it actually closed on a pretty good note. I think it's a very strong series overall, especially like I said during the middle episodes of the series, and that's Deadly Class, which has not been given a yeah, it was not which has not been given a yay or nay by Sci-Fi as of yet. Looking at it from a perspective of numbers, overall, I believe they are the fourth rated show on the network as of this point in time, and it just concluded its 11 episode season. Your thoughts on the possibility of Sci-Fi retaining Deadly Class for another season?
Well, because sci-fi ratings are pretty low at this point, I think that it's going to probably be like a middling performer, like the Van Helsing type. But I think it could be renewed for a second season, though, if the money allows it.
And
Which
it
is,
is a little bit more of an expensive show, but I think it does have promise. I think it has a fan base that actually really wants it to perform well and get it another season. And then the fact that it actually started off low and actually rose in ratings at during the course of the season, which is something you don't see from every show. So it actually showed promise on improving on its audience during the course of the season. So let's hope that Sci-Fi actually goes ahead and renews Deadly Class. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, but I think with also the power of the Russo brothers and Avengers Endgame, them being executive producers on the show, that may give it just enough to go ahead and renew it for another season and give that another 11 episode run, because it is only 11 episodes. So maybe that might be in its favor next time around. So, and next time around. Is there any more news you want to talk about when it comes to cable out there, and just to enlighten the fans, just on just a little bit more on what's going on in the world of cable?
well, we'll go back to the, like, piggybacking on the sci-fi. We knew that Night Flyers just got canceled, and then Happy is getting the similar ratings as Night Flyers did.
And that's
Oh, Night
funny because I
Flyers.
still see the promos, and that's funny because I still see the promos for Happy at this point in time.
Yeah, it's. I'm guessing like Happy is the middling performer on a low-rated sci-fi, but currently it's averaging a 0.11 in the ratings, which could be, it's around the same as Winona Earp. But Van Helsing got renewed with similar ratings as Night Flyers, where everything's low.
Everything
It
is low when it comes to sci-fi, but you're right, it's a matter of cost. And if that show has a cost value that's effective enough, it could be retained for another season.
But yeah,
Jazz, oh, go ahead.
Happy apparently dropped like from the premiere, and so far it has dropped like almost 50% in ratings. Like previously it got a 0.21 in the ratings in season 1, which probably puts it around the bottom half or close to the middle tier of sci-fi.
That is something to think about indeed. So you never know what's going to happen when it comes to sci-fi and their shows like Deadly Class and Happy. One last thing I got to ask you before we head on out, and that is, what are you working on when it comes to the TVRatingsGuide.com?
Well, currently I am on the first season, like part A of the Book of Terry, and new scripts are available on Tuesday nights. But we also have Marietta on Monday nights, as well as new shows College and Finally Together.
And let's hope those shows stay highly rated as everybody goes ahead and checks out all the original shows
As
from.
well as Thursday nights, Our House, though, in our originals. But
Well, those.
currently,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
currently also we do reviews. I do the renew cancel columns primarily for CW and Freeform, Sci-Fi and TNT cable networks, as well as the Paramount network, which will be coming back soon. And I'm also doing we may be taking over for Fox, but Fox is in for the renew cancel columns. So it's basically like a share type thing for Fox right now. Because we don't know at this point because of the merger.
Absolutely. A lot of things are up in the air. A lot of jobs are up in the air when it comes to Fox and what Disney's doing. They've already laid off quite a few people, and it looks like they're going to be, I guess, as they go ahead and merge Fox into the Disney consortium, it looks like they're going to make even more changes when it comes to Fox going forward. It'll be very interesting to see. But you got to check out the entire lineup of great shows that they've got today at the TVRatingsGuide.com. That is the TVRatingsGuide.com. Again, a lot of original shows there, a lot of renew cancel indexes on cable networks, cable broadcast networks, and so much more. There's also great reviews of shows that are out there that they cover. Like I said, it's just an awesome experience when you head on over to the TVRatingsGuide.com. Jessica, as always, you got some great info that you laid upon us when it comes to the TV ratings world. You got to come back again next month and give us an update of what's going on, especially with some of these spring shows that are going to be debuting soon or have debuted. Got to give us an update on all that's going on, plus what may be announced going forward as far as some pilots and some other great news that are coming up for the fall season, because we should hear a little bit more about what's going on for the fall season come early May. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Jessica, it's always just great having you on the show, but I want to thank you so much. And any last thoughts on the way out?
No last thoughts at the moment, but we're still watching on the ratings for all the networks at this point. Is just whether All American or Roswell, New Mexico make it out alive after upfronts.
Always end with a CW note. You got to always end with a CW note right here, because I know that network has a special place in her heart. And that is, again, Jessica Boggs. Well, good thing we're not talking about Nashville anymore. But anyways, I digress. It is Jessica Boggs once again from the TVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check out all the great work that she and the other tremendous staff members are doing at the TVRatingsGuide.com. Jessica, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and a great pleasure to have you a part of the pop culture cosmos.